Good morning. My name is Ndjendja, and please allow me to stand on the protocol observed earlier. And I'll go through with you on a presentation on system re-engineering, transforming education high-stake data through OpenEMIS. Before I get through to the presentation itself, I just want to define two terminologies on the title itself. Can you please reflect the whole title? Thank you. The first phrase that I want to define in order for us to contextualize my talk is educational high-stake data. The educational high-stake data in this context, I'll be talking about the data that is gathered for the sake of national examination, so data that relates to candidates or learners that will be writing national examination under the Ministry of Education and Arts and Culture. So it's data concerning candidates' information, candidates' marks within related question papers, and eventually within the whole examination, and hence the certification thereof. The data of that is high stake in a sense that it defines, or it is used to decide, to make very important decisions in relation to individual candidates. Hence, the need for us to make sure that this data is kept in secure systems. It's guided by rules and regulations that then guides the credibility and the reliability of this kind of qualifications. Hence, then the re-engineering part of the system, we are talking about us as a ministry having impact on the process of examining what we had before in order to alter and reconstruct the systems that hold and manage this kind of data. Okay, as an overview of the presentation, I'll be going through an introduction, and the first two bullets actually is really to just position what I'm going to talk about in real time. And I was excited yesterday when we were referring to data that shouldn't be available in real time. So we should have systems that conforms to that. Information-based decision in education, it does not only reflect in gatherings like this, but it increases access, efficiency, effectiveness, quality of education through effective system monitoring and evaluation. The budgeting and planning, policy research and policy analysis requires for us to use data to do that. Policy review requires for us to use data to do that. High-stake national examination, however, although used to some extent, in fact, in many cases we have seen many presentations referring to national examination data, has the potential of even being used better if it is enhanced and further characterized in a different way as opposed to what we use in terms of aggregate and ranking schools and all that. So, traditional educational management information systems, which we call EMIS, which we also have in our Ministry of Education, have evolved over the years. The normal one, the one that captures the characteristics of schools, learners, and all that. But it has greatly kind of put on a side the high-stakes examination data, maybe for very good reasons, because of the fact that they are high stakes. You don't really want to have them too much linked to the normal ones that you use on everyday basis. This has, however, resulted into the underutilization of high-stake examination data. For us, we usually just use it to perhaps we will hear who is the highest candidates nationally, what school performed better, but you don't get to performing better in what sense, in terms of what are the other characteristics that we can attach to this kind of performances. There is therefore a need to enrich the use of high-stakes examination data by intertwining the data with a tested curriculum to even talk to what it is that really stood out in terms of this examination, and also through interoperability with other data systems. For example, examination data can really be directly related to our traditional IMES data. I know that our IMES still uses it as part of examination data. However, it could be used even in a better way to even further characterize whatever school that stood out. The reporting can even go on to say in what area is it staying, what kind of resources does that school have, and so forth. So we can further characterize the high-stake data to even empower it more. Okay, that's not coming out so well, but I'll try and explain in terms of the presentation. I'll try and explain what I'm trying to put there. That slide tries to explain the Namibian education transformation in relation to the national examination that we offered or are offered currently. From 1995 to 2006, we have had 2 examinations. We used to have our national junior secondary certificate, but in that time as well, we used to have higher IGCSE or IGCSE, which was directly from Cambridge. Then we transformed, we localized our curriculum in 2007 to offer the new examination based on our own localized curriculum, which was the NSSE, the Namibia Senior Secondary Certificate Ordinary Level and Higher Level combined, and that was all offered at the end of grade 12 combined. As a result of the new curriculum review that we are offering the Namibia Senior Secondary Certificate Ordinary Level, as I referred to it before, it was offered at the end of grade 12 together with a higher level in the same grade. But now we found it necessary to have those split so that we can have candidates articulating well between the two levels. So we now have the Namibia Senior Secondary Certificate Ordinary Level new being offered at the end of grade 11, and the Namibia Senior Secondary Certificate Advanced Subsidiary being offered at the end of grade 12. Okay, and again to contextualize better, that cycle tried to explain different stages of national examination processes. So within a specific national examination, if I would narrow down to Namibia Senior Secondary Certificate Ordinary Level, for example, we have 5 different stages that we take in terms of the whole academic year process. The stage 1 refers to the setting of question paper. I'm just explaining this to also contextualize in terms of how the systems work as well. Stage 1 refers to the setting of question paper, which takes place 2 years in advance before the candidates register. Then the stage 2, learners or candidates register for examination, which happens around the months of January and February. Then we have stage 3, where the candidates write the examination, which happens around the months of October and November. We have stage 4, the marking, capturing of marks, processing, which happens around October, December. And then eventually we have the results processing, publishing, and printing in terms of statistics and data that is released. Introduce the whole reform, the reform of curriculum of since 2012 introduced a major change in examination, as I highlighted before in the explanation I had earlier. So we now only administer 2 examinations. It came to have an end in the Junior Secondary Certificate, which ended in 2018. So we only now administer 2 examinations, which is the NSSC ordinary level and then the NSSC advanced subsidiary. This, with many other challenges, brought on a need for the ministry to review its examination data system, which I'm abbreviating as EDMS, in order to, first of all, efficiently and effectively manage the examinated data based on the revised curriculum, and to ensure that the registration of candidates for examination from 2020, because the first examination for the new NSSC ordinary level started in 2020, from 2020 onwards, and to extend the functionality to ensure that the data produced is rich enough to inform other processes. This has been made possible with the partnership between the Ministry of Education and Culture and UNICEF. This partnership meant that we needed to mitigate the impact of the reform on the need to change the data systems. The Ministry, through financial and technical assistance from UNICEF, embarked on a project to review and develop the examination data management system. And then the project started itself, or we started with the project in 2019. We have so far, to this extent, have now had support from UNICEF. We contracted, between the 2 partnerships, we contracted a company called Community System Foundations to review and develop the EDMS for the use for the 2020. Of course, you need the review. Within any re-engineering process, you need to review and then reconstruct. And then to obtain better data that could accurately diagnose effectively all children of Namibia in education. And when I say all children, including children with what is the new system? The new system is called OpenEMIS exams, and it was developed based on the Ministry of Education requirements, which was obtained during the analysis phase. OpenEMIS is a high-quality, open-source education management information system. So OpenEMIS itself it's an EMIS system on itself, but then it can also be extended to include examination modules. OpenEMIS was conceived by UNESCO and developed in partnership with Community System Foundation. OpenEMIS itself, I might highlight at this stage that it's highly customizable to country needs. Although we are highly dependent on OpenEMIS or Community System Foundation in terms of software development here, I might highlight at this point that functional requirements are determined by the ministry officials, and they are driving the development with the team of the software development. And as we continue, I'll just highlight again where we are coming from for you to again contextualize really what we are talking about. We are moving from a database that was based on very, very old versions of Oracle and operating on a Unix operating system, and the hardware itself was also quite old, and now we have moved to a newer and more current technology in terms of the database, the operating system, and the ministry also came in here because it's a partnership to procure new equipment in terms of hardware to house the data management system. The new system, further, it's developed on the latest technology with best practices, captures information with special needs, like I've highlighted before. It's easy to use because it's web-based. It imports data using Microsoft Excel. Again, I need to highlight here what we used to do in the past is we used to purchase a number of OMR forms, hard copies, papers, boxes and boxes, transfer them to the regions where the candidates now share in their information in terms of their personal details to register for examination. What we do these days, since 2020, we have commissioned what we call online registration. Again, like my colleague was highlighting here, it's an easy process that it takes 1 to 3 minutes to customize, and then we have learners registering for examination online where they sit. There are challenges that comes with it though. Again, as highlighted before, issues of connectivity, internet connectivity came in and all that. However, we really have to pat ourselves on the back to know that we have moved. I know there's a lot we still have to do. We have moved a milestone. There are a lot of schools. We are getting much cleaner data these days from schools in terms of soft data, even from rural schools that seem to be really challenged to have with connectivity. However, regions know the diversity and the needs for different ones, and we continue to improve in this arena. We now have a system that is fully configurable with different modules. It's designed with different features, including standardized and custom report, which can be customized to the customer's needs. I can go onto the system and say, if I want this specific report to be generated, I can customize it ourselves, which we in the past were not able to do. Can I quickly please have that also shown? I just want to highlight that we are moving from IT reflector. Okay. System review and development, it allows the ministry to better understand all learners, supports the implementation of inclusive policy, inclusive education policy, to improve efficiency by reduction of operation times and improve reducing operation times. I should again just highlight that we have many processes to capture those data again from the OMRs and our staff were even required to work longer hours, but that has now become kind of a thing of the past. We have reduced that tremendously. We then have a system that can be interoperable with other data systems, reduce supports and operation costs, because that was a very huge, it was very big in terms of budgeting for the Directorate and Ministry at large, and reduce risk of old infrastructure. And then, like I highlighted, we have online registration. I'm almost there. Vision for the future, which I really want to highlight, is the fact that we are moving towards to incorporate the functionality of what we call item banking. And item banking, in terms of banking, it means really we bank items. Items are question papers or questions that can be used to develop question papers. So that's the functionality that we are moving towards or working towards within the same system that we just developed, so that we can enhance even further our reporting, because the moment you have items being or questions being on the system itself and you are developing the question paper using the very same system, you have an opportunity to inform the reporting to be linked to the curriculum objectives, to say this specific objective has performed at this level for this school, for that school, maybe this school needs help in this topic and all that. This is where we are moving to, and this is really a highlight in terms of what our next processes are. The other functionality that we are moving to, or the advantage vision for the future, is to use data science and analytics to measure quality and performance of education delivery in Namibia in relation to all learning outcomes. Users to perform exploratory analysis and school performance by cross-examining results data with IMES schools census data, and also linking it, characterizing it further, and also linking it to other data management system, even to the census data, allowing data to speak in the whole country. So I have to rush.